Marvel Rivals is probably the most fun I've had in gaming in the longest time that I can remember. With over 33 different characters on the roster and Season 1.5 wrapping up in under 30 days, I figured it'd be about time I gave you all my tier list on where everyone ranked and who you should be piloting if you want to see success in Marvel Rivals ranked. Now, with all things, Marvel Rivals takes up a lot of time when it comes to participating, playing, ranking up, learning new metas, as well as making these types of videos. So if you really appreciate it, show me some love, drop a like, consider subscribing. Without further ado, let's get right into it. I think the easiest way of going about this will be starting off with the Vanguard, so let's take a look at Hulk and where we think he stacks up in the meta. Now, I have to say, I believe Hulk has a bit of a checkered experience within the community overall. Now, Hulk, like another character who ended up getting a lot of appreciation that we'll cover a little bit later on, was one of the characters people didn't understand how to properly pilot early on. So a lot of people confused him with being bad or being awful and not having the same abilities as that of Strange or Magneto. He doesn't provide the same amount of protection in the shield or a barrier that they do. But what Hulk lacks up for in shields and I guess overall protection for the team, he makes up for in displacement. He's really good at messing up the team's synergy, getting in, getting out, consistently jumping in and out of combat, and just completely shutting them down. Great, excellent melee and composition. Plus with the team up with Iron Man, I think that he's well positioned within the current meta. Now, I will say that post nerf that he got, him and Iron Man both collectively as a unit got a nerf to their overall team up, so that does hurt him a little bit, but I still see Hulk being banned consistently in the top, because a great Hulk can pressure your opponents in a way that no one else can. He can get into the back line, he can play to the front after peeling them off. I mean, you see me just bullying the thing here. Love that a lot, but overall, I gotta say that I'd probably put the Hulk just shy of S tier and in the A. And this is mainly going to be focused on the fact that he did lose a little bit of that support with Iron Man. The buff that they had has been nerfed, so Hulk receives less of healing and less of a health buff through that. But overall, he's still great. You're still going to see him banned a lot in the early / high elo, and in the games where you don't see him banned, in the earlier ones, he's going to be just demolishing people when properly played. I mean, as you can see here, we're just running down on their strategists teams. We've got them all bundled up here. A good Hulk is just going to create so much pressure, it won't feel like you need a back line necessarily. Sorry, a front line necessarily. Next up, we're going to need to talk about Captain America, and he's a Vanguard that I've had a lot of mixed opinions and feelings on, as they've changed and he's had numerous buffs and modifications to the way his movement works. So I will say that the changes allowing him to utilize a shield in the air are amazing. It gives him way more support. He seems a lot harder to kill and he was already pretty tough. I also like the speed of which his shield actually goes out when he's attacking. I do feel like he could use a bit of a damage buff though, because he still lacks in the same regard as some of the other dive style tanks like Hulk and Venom, even Thor in that regards, that he just doesn't put off enough damage. Yes, his shields do great work when you can get those hits, but the fact you got to get so close in order to get those, the real benefit from the shield throws, and the fact that you also really want to benefit from those in a enclosed space, makes it really hard for me to place him any higher than I'm going to. With that being said, with respect to the good captain, I'm actually going to put him in the B tier. While I don't think that he's a throw pick, I think that he really does need another heavy hitter style tank. Maybe I don't know, a Groot, a Hulk, probably even someone like a Strange or a Magneto to really do well with, because he doesn't do enough on his own. I think that he plays best with this Thor because, of course, you get the dive style character just consistently rushing down, destroying the backline and preventing them from repositioning. But overall, I do think that you have better picks. Now, the next character we want to take a look at is going to be Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange happens to be, in my opinion, the overall top choice for an excellent Vanguard in Marvel Rivals. If you want someone who can do just about everything, protection through his shield, versatility and movement through his portals, you've also got techniques and tech you can utilize with his Eye of Agamotto damage AoE spread in combination with his range attacks. Now, one thing you're going to be able to appreciate about Strange is the fact that he has amazing reset potential, and he just provides your team with a giant ass shield. And I don't care what anyone says, I am of a staunch belief that a good Vanguard protects their team in some way, shape, or form, and he does just that. Creates good space, has an amazing ultimate, excellent range and mobility so he can take out those flyers as well. Honestly, it shouldn't come as a surprise for anyone, but I'm going to put Strange in S tier. I'm not going to order these too much. I might do that towards the end. And if I do, let me know in the comment section if you guys like that. Next up, we've got Magneto, and I gotta say, Magneto's probably the tank that I slept on the most, and I honestly underestimated his utility. Granted, he has taken quite a bit of a beating, in my opinion, when it comes to his defensive potential, with his shield going down to 1.5 seconds. Overall, though, I think that he has higher potential when it comes to killing. If you add on that to the fact that Magneto has a position where he can protect strategists versus other ultimates that'll typically kill them outside of their ults, whether it be Iron Man, maybe you've got surprise Magneto ult on the other end of the team coming. He's able to bubble up his teammates, protect them, protect himself. He can also absorb enemy ultimates. I find that cool. There's a little fun tangent there. He really absorbs quite a bit of Star-Lord's ultimate, dang near all of it, and he can absorb enemy Iron Man ults as well, which is pretty nice. He also has great one-shot potential now through the whole 1-2 combo everyone talks about. Although in my opinion, I don't technically consider that a one-shot combo if you have to use more than one button input. But that's more of a technicality. Regardless of that, Magneto is amazing. He has just about everything that you want. Good pressure, amazing defense potential. I do think that they probably could have left him with a higher shield, but hey, now that at least he's able to put out more damage, so I think the trade-off's been good to him. And of course, naturally, Magneto is also going to go towards S tier because he's pretty damn great. I think if you want to have a good time ranking up in Marvel Rivals, especially when you have to worry about people getting banned too much, I hardly ever see Magneto as a target of a ban. So if you guys are looking to rank up, I really think these two might be some of your best picks for you to consider. Next up, we've got Groot, and honestly, I still think that Groot's kind of in one of the worst positions right now in the meta, and here's why. We've got numerous different flyers right now that he has to deal with, as well as Wolverines and Bucky's displacing him consistently out of the fight. Now granted, I do think Groot's very powerful. I think he has great positioning, and he's able to shut off corners and really lock opponents in and out of zones. I think that he's great when it comes to his attack potential, but right now, there's just so many different people that can displace tanks and a lot of flyers. What's he going to do up against some of the heavier hitters we have to face, such as a Storm or Wolverine? Now granted, those characters are typically banned Diamond and above, but not always gotten. And if they aren't, then basically you can't play Groot. I told somebody this before, that you cannot play Groot into Wolverine without basically giving up elo. They didn't agree with me, and we definitely lost the game. It happens quite a lot. You see people wanting to play him, and he has great shutout, especially on the defensive hold maps. But I think that where he really struggles is in the maps where you have a lot of open spacing, where you can also get away and tuck in corners, such as this map where he has the ability of actually just getting taken by a Wolverine at any point, being brought out underneath the map. I just don't think it's a good spot for him. Overall, I do think Groot's a solid pick, but there's just so many other DPSs that take him out, and with the other options of Vanguards and tanks that you have, I just don't feel like you'd be in the best position to play him, where you can pilot someone like Magneto who's able to push him out of the zone or push him out of a place, and they don't get bullied as heavily by some of the other characters like Bucky, Wolverine, etc. That said, Groot has some of the most amazing carry potential in lower EOs where people don't know how to play those characters as well. He also is great for grouping people up here. I mean, he's even able to combo well with people like Moon Knight, Namor, a lot of 1-2 combos there. It's great for really shutting people out, but I don't know. Overall, I probably have to put Groot somewhere along the lines of, and I know this is going to make some of you mad, but I'm probably going to put him a little bit in the B tier here. I'm going to put him slightly ahead of Captain America. I could see the argument for A, maybe towards the end, but I just don't feel like he's as good as Hulk. And I think in the current meta with all these flyers and all this displacement, he just doesn't get the same amount of love that he's had in previous seasons. But let me know in the comment section if you guys disagree on that. Now let's take a minute to talk about Venom. Venom is probably one of the most confusing Vanguards for me to really learn to appreciate, but I've slowly gotten some appreciation for the guy, I won't lie to you. I think Venom has a lot of good potential as a diver. He has great disruption. On the rare occasion you get a Spider-Man that doesn't go 0-13, you're actually able to go crazy with this team up as well. Venom also excels in one-shotting people out of ultimates. There's a great combination with Luna's boost or Rocket's 45% damage boost as well, where you can use that combined with Venom's ult. You can basically clear out people immediately out of their ultimates, even people like Luna Snow, who should, for all intents and purposes, be invincible. So I find that pretty great. Excellent mobility and good just overall survivability through Venom. I like the character a lot. I think that he's fantastic. I do think that he kind of struggles in that regard of not actually having a shield, and I do prefer my Vanguards actually tanking me and protecting me. But a good Venom makes the enemy team so focused on him, so disrupted, that it doesn't really matter. You don't need the same type of protection. When used properly, the amount of disruption placed on the enemy is going to prevent them forever getting close to you in the first place. So I think in that regard, Venom is a solid pick. And the overall meta right now, I'd probably put him around. I'm going to put Venom solidly in the A tier as well. I'm going to put him just ahead of Groot, mainly because of the fact that he isn't as bullied as heavily and displaced by people like Wolverine or Bucky, because unlike them, Groot, he's able to get himself up to basically full health instantly with his shield thing, his shield recharge. So yeah, I think that Venom is currently a pretty decent position. I'd say he's worse than Hulk, better than Captain America and Groot though. Next up, the man, the myth, the legend, Thor. I gotta say, I'm loving Thor right now in the current meta. The amp ups that he's able to give Captain America as well as Storm are fantastic. The fact that he goes so great with Hela, who's in an excellent position in the meta right now, given that we have 12,000 flyers, I think that Thor is thriving. While he does struggle to have a decisive way of functioning, he works well as like a mid-floater tank. In that regard, he's able to play both the back line and pseudo the front line to an extent, provided he has another tank with him. And that allows him to get good positioning, pressure the opponents, and just disrupt them, or I guess provide spacing and prioritize positioning with your teammates. It's nice having a Thor on your team because you know that they're going to be bullying people, but as I said before, if you really want a solo carry, I wouldn't recommend him as the sole tank on a team on a push. You're just going to have a tough time really providing that protection from your team. And there are going to be other things you want to do. Overall, in the meta right now, I think that it's fair to give Thor an A as well. I think that he's better than Venom in that regard, although Venom has better survivability. I think that his overall synergies and team pairings that he has with other people, it just puts him in a better position overall. But let me know what you guys again think in the comment section if you disagree with that take. Now, Penny, in my opinion, is still one of the strangest tanks that we have, only because of the fact that she works really good on defensive-based maps, but she doesn't really do much in the Vanguard style. She honestly plays, in my position, more of like in a sense of like Namor. Yes, she's got the mines and she sets them up, but she doesn't really protect anyone outside of backliners and divers that actually have to come close to you. I think in the current meta, she kind of struggles with the fact that she has, limited ability to protect people from ult. She has no way of protecting her teammates, and she struggles a lot because of that. Granted, she does have a nice team up that's given her invulnerability, so she has a little bit more survivability in that regard. Plus, she has unlimited ammo, which allows her to shut down flyers a little bit easier, and she can stop ultimates-ish with her spray. But overall, I just gotta say that I think that there are better things you can be playing if you want to have a good Vanguard. Sure, a proper Penny can do amazing work, but I feel like you're going to be doing just good work if you were on anything else. So sadly, Penny's not gonna actually be getting that much love in the community. I honestly think that she might arguably be the worst tank outside of situations. Again, and this is primarily past where bans are allowed, is where I'm referencing a lot of this list. I'm gonna put her in the B tier, primarily with the exception of there being defensive-based maps or dominations, where I think she could shine a little bit more. But let me know what you think. Last but not least, The Thing. I gotta say that I find him to be a very interesting Vanguard. For once we have somebody who's not just going to be bullied around consistently by the Buckies, the Wolverines, I think him and Magneto would be a great composition if you don't want to have to avoid or ban Wolverine. You want to ban someone else, specifically if you're playing against someone who is maybe a one-trick at another character you don't like. Because he is not moving at all. I like that he's able to go in and out. He plays a lot like the Hulk. I don't know why everyone has this weird take that he can play the front and back line and no one else does that. And I'm like, well, I mean, Hulk kind of does. He jumps in and out of that, and he definitely can play both and protect his team. Overall, though, I do think The Thing does a better job of that with having immunity, in a sense, to movement-based crowd control effects. So overall, I like his positioning. I do think that he struggles as well against flyers. His power is a little bit lower than it really should be, and even the overhealth provided by his punches and the team ability that he gets, I do still think that he isn't the best tank, and you don't have the ability to solo tank with him like you can some of the others. Overall, for The Thing, I'm going to put him in the B tier, although I could very much see an argument for the A if you're probably lower than, I don't know, Diamond. Look, I know he's fantastic and a lot of people struggle with him, but I promise you, in a functionality of working just by himself, he doesn't shine as well as you're thinking. I mean, think of all the games you've had where he was the only tank. How well did it go for you? If you've had a game where he can just solo tank and it's gone phenomenal past, I don't know, let's just say Diamond 3, let me know in the comments section. I really would genuinely love to hear about it. Now, on to the duelists. Now, the Punisher is probably one of the most casual DPSs in the game, and that's because he does his job and he does it well. The Punisher isn't out here trying to be fancy, go for too many flanks outside of the turret spray that he can have, but he has the ability to have both a low floor and a very high ceiling. High floor and high ceiling. I mean, look at the range and ability that he has, the rocket pair up that he has. You can pair with him, Bucky, and Rocket. The amount of damage he can just output is phenomenal. Being able to alternate between shooting with your primary and your shotgun means you're essentially firing consistently without having to stop. He's excellent against flyers, has a little bit of limited ability with mobility and survivability, so I won't get him anything too much glaze, but I have to say that I'm pretty impressed with Punisher's character, his placement in the current meta, and I'm gonna place him in A tier. I don't think this should come as a shock to anyone, but he is very good in the meta. He's a fine pick. If you get a Punisher in your team, he's great. If you throw the Rocket in there, I definitely see the S tier potential at least, unlike some characters that can do it on their own, as we'll see. Now for the meta-breaking, meta-defining, Storm-wielding Storm. So Storm is probably the strongest character in the game at the moment. She's always banned. It's a struggle to even find games with her in higher gameplay. I actually had to find this one because I have not had a single game where she wasn't banned, so I couldn't play her in GM, unfortunately. But no, you can see here exactly why, because in the opportunities where she's allowed to exist, she's builds that ult charge so fast. I mean, look at her getting in there, pressuring the team, and just applying so much pressure. Her movability and ability to get in and out of combat instantaneously, the ultimate's insane. I don't think Storm needs too much of a praise here for everyone to understand exactly why she gets the ranking she does. I think it's clear as day. Storm is 1000% S tier, and I'm honestly, just for the sake of principle, I'm gonna put her ahead of Strange, just to point out and like emphasize that she really is a meta-defining character. And if you get a chance to play her and she isn't banned, you should play her every time. Next up, we got Hawkeye. Now, Hawkeye, who was the former Menace in Season 1, truly oppressive, the most irritating character in the game, in my opinion at least. He's kind of been neutered, to be honest with you. He has way less potential for the one-shots. People are a lot more conscientious of him. I think that has to do with a lot of the fact that, you know, people are used to the last season just getting beaten down and bullied by him. But while you would normally assume that he'd be in a great position due to all the flyers in the meta, Hawkeye just falls a little bit short compared to the others. You've got a lot of DPSs that can do the same job as him, but better. And while I don't think he's bad, I do think that he just kind of loses that same potential that someone like Hela could have for a lot less effort. I mean, you're dang near fighting for 2 shots all the time. So that being said, I'm gonna put Hawkeye in the B tier. I don't think that he's unplayable by any means of the imagination. I just don't think that he's that good for what he can do right now when you have other DPSs that can just do the job better. Speaking of, you're about to see her exactly here and why this character should probably be higher up in your ban list for the meta. Now, when it comes to free characters, I think that Hela is probably a perfect example of that. If you're able to hit your shots, you're able to mow down a team almost instantaneously. I'm honestly surprised that Hela doesn't get banned a lot more in Diamond and higher elos. Especially right now, since they recently gave her the weird patch/buff thing that everyone thought was a mistake where she had no fall-off damage. I think it was meant to combat all the flyers, but it's kind of gotten to the point where Hela might need another nerf again. The hit scan potential is just a little too high, so no need for me to go too deep into this. I mean, of course, Hela is going to be S tier. So, now, on to the next one. Now, you've all experienced that creepy feeling of a Black Panther chasing you across the map, and we all know how oppressive they can be when they're good. A good Black Panther is probably one of the most irritating things to have to deal with, and it's going to make you immediately want something like a Namor or a Bucky to stop that backline assault, because otherwise he'll just clear your team and no one's going to stop him, and that's very annoying. Personally, I think that he's in a bad position right now in the meta. With the overabundance of Buckies and the Namor appreciation going right now, he's not getting the opportunities to eat as free as he wants. So that being said, for me, I'm going to put him in the A tier. I think that he's a great character, high potential. Unfortunately, I do think that he's struggling right now because there are just so many people that are punishing the backline. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Next up, we got Spider-Man. And I gotta say, a great Spider-Man makes you feel damn near unbeatable, but a bad one makes you feel nothing but despair. I'm telling you, I'd rather have a bad Black Panther than Spider-Man, which makes no sense. You would think that he'd be worst character overall, but he's not. He's got the mobility, he's got a pretty great ult, but somehow Black Panther players are always better than Spider-Man players. I think Spider-Man's invulnerability that he got from the patch, I think he gave him a little bit of an edge. That's nice. The recharge rate is fine, and of course you've got that ever so classic Spider-Man tech of trying to pull people off, but when it fails, you end up looking like this, and then it makes you wonder. Like, seriously, ask yourself in the setup before this, did you really just not want to fight this guy? Did you have to take this L? I mean, you get pushed off and then you fall. I don't know. great character, great potential, but honestly, the execution for most of the community puts him in the B tier. I've yet to see many Spider-Man that can successfully work around people like Namor or other anti-flank dive characters. So for the most part, he's good at being annoying, but he never really gets anything done. And especially when people end up doing the triple support metas, which haven't completely been retired, he just struggles to get an actual pick. Now we've got Namor, and I love Namor, I won't lie. Originally, I slept on him a lot in the community, but as I played him more and more, I realized just how many people do not look up, and a well-placed turret in a good position just shuts down 99% of the community. In the same way people don't look for flyers, people do not look for Namor turrets, or unks, or anything. I mean, I don't know, the unks are a little bit more obvious because you constantly see them like, you know, they're an enabler, whereas those things are passive damage. But I mean, the pressure you're able to apply as Namor, the ult charge meter, pair yourself with a Groot, you just eat so free, bro. No surprise whatsoever, Namor is easily S tier. If you can play Namor this season, I would highly do it. He's great against divers, great against flyers, great against everyone really, especially with a Luna pairing up with him, you almost feel like a god. Now, he's not a god, but Star-Lord is amazing, and post-buff, he just feels like a butterfly. He's damn near a flyer himself. That ability to get in and out of combat is so nice, and unlike some people, I won't say names, but Spider-Man, he's able to damage people without having to get so close and put out constant beams. You're able to play him in a frontline sense and just feed off of the tanks, charge up your ult meter so fast. You're also able to play backline and take out flankers. I mean, you get so much utility with him, and overall, his ult meter charge is pretty good. Great, as long as you can hit those shots, you flourish with Star-Lord. Honestly, in this position, the current meta, I think that he's only shy of S tier in one regard. That regard being that he actually feels fair to use versus some of the other people in their ultimates. So, that being said, I'm going to put him in the A tier. I hope a lot of people aren't going to bite my head off for that. I think that he's amazing. I think he's just shy of S tier. I think he could be there. If you pair this and factor in his team up with Adam Warlock, I think the argument can be made as well, but that'll probably be a separate video in and of itself as far as ranking team ups, since there's only like 12 of them, I think. Next up, we have Psylocke, and I feel like Psylocke, for some reason, just got a little bit worse. I don't know what it is. Maybe the fact that her ultimate just has less utility for me. Maybe the fact that everyone has a shield now, it seems like, or at least a billion health. I don't know. Psylocke has lost a lot of her potential, but I do think that she's still pretty strong. She's great at dealing with flyers primarily, so like Iron Man, Storm, she's really good because you catch them at an off angle, you do a couple shots, you can finish them off. But she struggles to get actual picks in the front end, and anyone who just notices her and doesn't let her do her thing, she just gets taken out. I feel like her and Hawkeye really were oppressive last season, so people are making up for that now. Weird enough that Hela's just getting, you know, buy free. Hela players are eating free right now, but that's just my take. And what she lacks up for in damage now, and her ultimate being a little bit weaker, she still has great potential again for taking out those flyers, getting good back ends, as long as you're able to hit those shots. Keep in mind that, you know, the higher you go, the more relative people are your skill level as well. That being said, this is probably one of the hottest takes. I'm going to put Psylocke probably towards the high end of the B tier. I know it's going to get some people really hot here. I just don't think that she's as good as any of these three guys. I don't, even when used in the best regards. Magic is a character that I definitely underestimated when I first saw her. I mean, I love sword characters, so I don't know why that I ever even doubted her, in the same way I love melee characters like Wolverine. But she is amazing at just slicing through the enemies, getting in there and getting out. It's almost impossible to hit her when she's utilizing those frames properly. Her ultimate just feels like she's a haymaker. Honestly, I'm loving Magic in this meta. Pair her with the fact that she's got a good team up with Panther and Psylocke. I think that each of the team ups, for the most part, maybe not the group one, can collectively boost people a tier. But I'm liking Magic in the meta. And although this is probably going to get a couple of you upset, I'm probably going to put her just slightly ahead of Psylocke, mainly for the fact that that ultimate just cleaves town. I do think Psylocke kind of took that L here with this latest that patch she got. I don't know, could be wrong. I know a lot of people are going to see this at the end of the video and want my head, but hopefully those of you who've been watching for the whole time will at least hear my logic and explain to me while I'm wrong. Now, you can't talk about Toxic without mentioning Bucky. Bucky right now is a meta-defining character, primarily for the fact that he has the potential to clear a whole team with his ultimate in a different way. With the streamlining and resets provided by his ultimate, he's able to not only clear people, but set up the team for good positioning, force an enemy team all the way back to their spawn, and then continuously take them out. Bucky's great against flyers. Bucky's great against backliners. Bucky's great against tanks. He's great at grabbing people and moving them. He's great at moving himself out of the way. You don't need much more explanation. Bucky S tier. If you're confused, I don't know how. Now, with that being said, we can 100% expect a nerf from Bucky here in the future. I do not think he's going to be consistently able to get away with this. I mean, he's just been putting so much belt to ass lately. Now, I know a lot of you aren't going to like what I'm about to say next, which is why I'm going to skip to the part where I beat around the bush and just tell you that Reed Richards is a bad character right now. Yes, his ultimate has been changed, but right now he just doesn't have enough support. There's too much flyers in the community. There's too many people that just do a better job than him. So many people you think you can function him as an off tank, and you can, but per usual, you just have better options over him. Whereas you could play someone like a Thing, you could play a Thor, you could play a Captain America. He's just not a good position right now, and while he can grab flyers if they're dumb enough to get low range, he's just not going to have good enough time in the community right now. I mean, the meta is being defined by a lot of these flyers just going around being able to do whatever they want, and he can't even get them. He also has weird ways for his attacking, where you have to like basically wiggle around and turn your analog or your mouse as you hit. So I'm not going to lie to you guys, he's probably the worst DPS in the game. I'd almost put him below Hela. Sorry, correction, put him below Widow is what I meant. With that being said, I can't even lie to you. I feel like Reed Richards, for the most part, is probably a throw pick. I think if you play him past, honestly, GM, you're gonna have a tough time. Yes, you can catch people lacking, and sure, people aren't used to fighting the guy. They're gonna have the ability of, being caught off guard, but I mean, his gimmicks just work a lot less functionally than that of a Thor, that of a Captain America, hell, that of a Thing. Definitely, I'd play the Thing over I'd play him. They probably should have just made the guy a tank and just given him some more health, but that's just my take. Now that we've got the worst character out, I want to get probably the second best, Wolverine. Wolverine is almost always banned. No one wants to fight against him. No one wants to fight, have their tanks taken. Nobody wants their team to be disrupted. It's just annoying. And having Wolverine in ranked is probably the most unfun experience a tank can go through. Me, myself, I love playing Wolverine. I'm a lord on him. He's one of my favorite DPSs in the game. Probably the one I've spent the second most amount of time on outside of Iron Fist, ironically enough. But yeah, Wolverine's fantastic. If you get a chance to play Wolverine and you don't, you're silly. He is SSSS tier, and I would always play him if you get an opportunity to. And if you're actually fortunate enough to get someone in your team who knows how to do the fastball special, then yeah, he gets his own tier after that one. But what do you guys think about Wolverine? Is he too much? Should they modify his percentage base damage? I'm starting to think he might be a real problem for these tanks. So Iron Fist's recent changes have made him a strange character in the community, given the fact that he now does health-based percentage hits, kind of like Wolverine. However, he hits at a much faster rate. He has the counters. I think that he's in a decent position right now overall, but he does struggle in the same regards of that Spider-Man can do a lot of things that Black Panther can. But for some reason, Black Panther's at Spider-Man's job than Spider-Man. Even though Spider-Man has more mobility and things like that, you'd think on paper he'd be better. I feel similarly about Iron Fist. I think that he's a great character. I think fundamentally he should work. I just think that right now, you're not going to see a lot of good play with him at the higher levels. I think you got so many projectile-based fighters that make it hard to get in. So many anti-dive characters. You've got Bucky. You've got, heck, I even consider Wolverine to be pseudo-anti-dive. You've got Namor. And he just struggles with that. Although I do think he's better, I don't think that he's good enough right now. Overall, I'm going to probably have to put Iron Fist a little bit in the C tier. I think that he's better than like Mr. Fantastic if you take him into rank and the higher elos in a serious sense, but I don't think that he's going to be your best pick. And although you can do well with him, you're probably going to have a better time with a lot of the other characters. Johnny Storm probably needs another buff, honestly. I think his projectiles are a little bit better now, but overall he just doesn't have enough support. I mean, I can't even really find people wanting to play the guy too much in higher ranks because he just has, I mean, he flies slower than Iron Man. He has lower hit range than Storm. The spread of his attacks makes it feel more of like a shotgun. I think that he's fine and he's fun, but overall, he's just not that great. And the ultimate team up with Storm is a little bit redundant, so I'm unfortunately going to put him in the C tier. I know that's going to get a lot of you mad. I mean, we just got to be honest with ourselves here. Does anyone really feel like he has the same impact as any of the other flyers? If you do, let me know in the comment section, because I just have a tough time feeling like he's going to be doing the same amount of work as an Iron Man or a Storm, but I'm open to being wrong and corrected. Black Widow has also caused a bunch of controversy in the community. So many people used to consider her a throw. With the recent updates and her ability to now have like 15 magazine clip, she is seeing a lot more support. Combined with Storm as well, she now has quote unquote one-shot potential, provided, you know, it's a squishy character, she gets him right in the head. You also got the stun ability from her kick that gives you some protection, gets backliners. But Widow, I mean, she doesn't have enough, as you can clearly see here. Way. Yes, she can run. Yes, she can snipe. But she's going to be struggling consistently against anyone who just rushes her down. Even in environments where she's got a long range of sight, she still doesn't have the same amount of damage as someone like a Hawkeye. And you can't increase her range of fire either. Even when she's able to get these great picks, she's just not going to be able to compete with someone who can do it quicker. Because of that mediocre speed of her, she's honestly going to get into the C tier as well. I do think she's honestly probably slightly better than Mr. Fantastic, but only a little bit. You know, one-on-one setting, I honestly think it could go either way. Now, Moon Knight used to be one of the most oppressive characters in this game. Everyone was playing him. It had to do with the bug and with his ultimate, whatever. The point is, he was seeing so much play. Now you're a tough time even finding anyone playing Moon Knight in the higher of higher elos, because you've got other people who can just play at higher efficiencies. It's all about what's the most efficient route. It's not about who's the best character. It's about what you can do, or who is most fun for these people. It's about winning. And while Moon Knight has a lot of damage potential, he has certainly felt a little bit less support in the since the recent patch. Ironically enough, there's not been a lot of usage of him and Cloak's ultimate together. Him and Cloak's team up ability. Yes, you've got the healing potential there, which is nice. And you would think that would actually give him a boost, but I don't know. I didn't really feel the full impact of it. I think I used it once and it didn't even heal me up to full health, which I find a little bit strange. I don't know. I'm not saying Moon Knight needs a buff, though. I think that he's fine where he is in the meta. That said, I'm going to put Moon Knight just towards the high end of B tier. I think that he's a phenomenal character as far as from a balance perspective. He's great, balanced, not too good, not too bad. Leave him alone. Don't touch him. don't do anything to him. Leave him how he is, and I think that'll be fine for everyone. Squirrel Girl, another character who had seen a lot of support for her ability to charge up her ultimate fast, hasn't actually seen too much fluctuation. I mean, she's a fine character. I think she's also a good example of one of those characters that are highly balanced at this point. Sure, she can mow people down with those acorns, but she's not too bad as far as rushing down. Her mobility is limited. I mean, she does have nice vertical, and she's got high jumps. She's out here like LeBron. But overall, she's not too oppressive, and she does struggle with hitting flyers due to her inability to get like pure pinpoint accuracy, unless you're just, you know, sniper. If you're John Wick and you can hit those shots, then excuse me. But for us mere mortals, she doesn't make it easy on us. Very impressive character. I'm gonna put her in B tier, probably just somewhere in between Psylocke and Moon Knight. I think she's probably a little bit better than Psylocke in this meta, in my opinion. I know I'm still gonna get hate for that, but I like that Psylocke can deal with flyers, and she can't as well. Scarlet Witch has been a love-hate character, with her ultimate being so obnoxious and broken. I know the devs had a tough time balancing her to make her fair. I think this season she's gotten quite a bit of love. I think she's gone from being a complete throw pick, with the fact that she can deal with flyers really well, the fact that she is great for backliners with her unlimited ammo spread. Her ultimate still kind of sucks a little bit, I won't lie to you. But with the fact that she gets that extra health overage and Magnetos typically bubble her, you know, you typically get a Magneto combo with you, it makes it to where you can pull those combos off a lot easier. As well as, I've seen a lot of people using it with Invisible Woman. Oh, you pop that Invisible Woman ult and launch that up. Alright, she's not dying. They're having a tough time escaping. Scarlet's in a good place right now. A solid pick. I'm gonna put her in the B tier. I think that she's really just fine. You know, I'd probably... she's fine. She's not better than any of these characters. She's not worse than any of these characters, I would say. But if you put a gun to my head and ask me where specifically, I'd put her somewhere around the middle tier. But let me know what you guys think, Scarlet. Have you been enjoying her this season or not? Next up, we have the Immortal or Invincible Iron Man. And to be honest, I think that now that he has been a buff separate from Hulk, he's better by himself, which I like, but I kind of hate it because I don't think that he necessarily needed that buff. I think that having characters dependent on other characters made it easier, because then you're able to get those bans, and I like that. It made it easier to shut people down. Now it just feels like he can just mow you down from anywhere on the map. I don't know. Iron Man's always been a good character. I think he's a solid pick. I do think with the presence of this many Namors and Hellas that he's a little bit worse, and without Hulk, I don't think he can sneak into the S tier. That said, I think you'd be pretty dishonest to say that he doesn't at least belong in the A tier. I mean, Iron Man is pretty damn nice overall. He's got great splash damage as well. Post-patch, I think that's supposed to get stronger by the time this video is dropped. Should be out already. All right, you still there watching? I know it's been a while, but we're almost done. We are finally onto the Strategist, and I'm going to start off with Mantis. Now, Mantis had an amazing showcase, and I don't know why she suddenly got worse. I just think the other Strategists are kind of better, is probably the real issue we're facing here. Her ultimate just doesn't do enough when you compare it to other people's, although Mantis herself is a phenomenal character with great abilities. I mean, a Mantis can solo carry a team, in my opinion, with her boosting, damage. I just think that with Luna and Invisible Woman and Cloak's ult having just higher damage, I mean, healing potential and lasting longer, and being in a seclusive area, it makes it easier for people to use her. And Mantis is a little bit dependent on your aim, so maybe there's a little bit of a difficulty barrier there. I personally would want to put her in S tier as far as my personal preference and likability, but if I'm keeping it honest from what I've seen in the community, I think it'd probably be more appropriate to put her in the A tier. I think that she'd probably be the best of the A tier strategists we're going to see, in my opinion. She's almost just right there at S tier, but fortunately, she is going to be struggling out against, you know, beating a Luna. We'll get to that in a second. Next, we got Adam Warlock, and this is a strategist I hated for the longest time. I'm slowly beginning to appreciate every character for who they are in the game. I still do think that there's a ceiling as far as where you can take certain people, but Adam is a great character, and I do think there's a lot of great potential with him. The team up provided to, you know, Adam and Mantis combined with Star-Lord is pretty strong. That said, I do not like the fact that his burst healings, I mean, I don't know. The burst healing just isn't it for me. I think they need to give him one more heal thing. I do. Put him up to 3. I think Adam is great. I think his revives are fine, but the problem is you can never, either you set them up early properly to make sure that your team can survive wherever you revive them and do a preemptive one, or you have to leave your team to hide in a spot to make sure that you don't like just get completely wiped when you respawn. So I think Adam has a lot of risk and a lot of reward. Very impressive character. I'll put him in the A tier as well. I do think that Mantis is a little bit better than him. I know that a lot of people are going to say, but his DPS potential, blah, blah, blah. I don't think that as a strategist, your primary goal should be focusing on damage. If it was that, I still think there are other people that beat him out. Sue Storm is great. Love her. Love her shields. I like the fact that you can consistently bubble up people. As long as you drop it before an enemy destroys it, you're able to consistently get 50 heals at once. It's a pseudo burst effect. I don't think she needs much of an explanation either. And with an ultimate that's able to just protect the entire team, I'm definitely going to be putting her into the S tier. Shout out to Sue Storm, one of my favorites. And of course, a baddie in that costume. Don't tell the Queen of Chaos I said that. Alright, so Luna. Luna's the best strategist in the game. I don't think I need to really say much more than that. She's great. She heals, she can protect herself, good backliners don't have as much ability to take her out, not bad on damage, able to heal multiple targets at one time, you can't beat it. And I don't care what anyone says, they better not give her a nerf, because I think that we need strategists that can compete with the heavy duty hitters in the game. I think that it's fine like that. And now for everyone's favorite, Jeff. Jeff is triple Jeff tier. On a serious note, Jeff isn't that great. Look, I know we've seen the TikTok clips of the DPS Jeffs going behind and flanking. Just play DPS. Play somebody who can do it. There's no reason for you to do that. If you want a DPS flank, just do that. But Jeff is not the person for it. Yes, that ultimate's great. But on a map like this, for example, you don't even have anywhere you can drop people off on. And there's so many other characters that do better streamlined healings. Look, if you want to have fun, play Jeff. But if you want to win, don't, because Jeff is definitely C tier. Maybe B tier if you're really bad at the game and you let people do whatever they want to you, but hey, whatever. Now it's time for the Coon. And before somebody gets on me in the comment section, I'm black. It's a joke. I did it on purpose. Ha 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 ha. Rocket's difficult for me to really place here. I think Rocket works really well with people. I know that overtime healing is something people like a lot. I'm not a fan of it. But you can't ignore the results. Rocket's players have been doing successfully well. Plus, when you pair them with a Bucky or a Punisher, you just get like free wins half the games, as long as they can consistently drop that team up. And while I don't think he's S tier, the best healer in the game, I don't think Rocket's bad anymore. I put him in the B tier. I think that he's a solid choice, and I don't think he's bad at all as far as a pick anymore. I can't believe I'm coming around to saying that. Now, Cloak and Dagger recently got kind of screwed over, in my opinion, with this recent patch. I think her ult was fine. I don't care if everyone hated the fact that she was able to drop 4 lines. I think it was fine. Luna gets 12 seconds of immortality. Let our girl Cloak just drop those healing numbers. Who cares? Or at least give her the 4 lines and make it be able to stack if you're going to lower the time. I do think that she's still a fine choice in the meta. I think she's kind of taking a little bit of a hit, though. A lot less Magnetos taking her out, which is nice. And with this current patch of being able to target focused healing, it seems like she's able to heal people a lot more, get those BP tanks up to health, so that's nice. I think I watched in a stream somewhere, someone said that a lot of these strategists are just too powerful right now. I'm kind of inclined to agree. I still think Cloak is S tier. I don't think she's bad. I could see the argument for her being A tier, but I do think she's better than Mantis and Adam, especially on her own. And last but not least, Loki. And Loki is a character I played a lot in the beta, but I haven't played him a lot recently at all in Season 0, basically. I think I played him a couple times. I was so focused on the other ones, and I really wanted to get my Lords. But Loki is really positioned well in the meta right now. A good Loki is going to take clones and position them all across and provide themselves with good positioning to make sure that they don't die to crazy nonsense. They're going to be stacking them in positions to where they can constantly heal up your teammates with those totems. And that totem thing, I slept on that. The little genie lamp he drops a heal, man, look, I'm telling y'all, Loki's a good character. You could double up his attacks and just constantly melt people as well. Great pressure. And for that reason, I'm actually going to put Loki as well in the S tier. Now, if you put a gun to my head and ask me to order these guys exactly how I think they should be as far as like who's the best, who's the worst, it probably goes something along the lines of this. Yeah, I think I'd feel pretty confident around there. Loki's able to charge quicker than Cloak and Dagger. Just for the S tiers, anyone else below doesn't matter. But I do think that the game is healthy right now in a good position overall. That being said, I do think that this season is, you know, a pretty fun season. It's been fun. I was able to make it to Grandmaster. I've enjoyed it a lot. Got to meet some new characters, new experiences, new allies, new ops. But what do you guys think? This is going to be my recommendation on who you should pilot if you want to see success in Marvel Rivals for the remaining 30 days of the game. If you want more videos like this, or if you'd like to see a breakdown of my tier list for ranking abilities, or maybe a fun tips and tricks for each character, like one fun fact about each character, let me know in the comment section. I love doing videos like that for y'all. And please show me some love. This is taking me like 4 hours alone just for the first processes of this, and I know I'm not going to want to edit it. But hopefully this should be coming out today on a nice Friday for all of you. Thank you all for watching, and take care.